This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Don't mistake the new me for the old me. They can't stop me now, I'm with the home team. No beginner, I'm a winner. Took a couple losses, now I'm cooking, let me simmer. Yeah, tunnel vision, all I see is win, 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 win. This my city section where you been. We move faster alone, but go further together. We can weather any weather forever. A dream team, I done seen things. Confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team out here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Forget the things you probably thought you knew. A new day is approaching, turn the gray skies into blue. I grew up on these same blocks, school of hard knocks. Had to get it on a hard time, took the hard shots, but we made it. Anticipated Hollywood.
All right, what up, though? Come on, dog. All right, there we go. Lord Jesus, the YouTube platform, man, you cannot depend on it. Sorry about that, guys. I had an issue. It was crazy, man. My encoder, the stream lost itself, and then so if there's any problems, let me know. Just put it in the chat. I will be able to make sure I can acknowledge the chat. Shout out to everybody in the building. Cohen says, Detroit basketball. Absolutely. Shout out to William as well. Will I am. What up, Hatter's House? What's going on? We got Master Chief in the building. So let me know if I run into any problems. Shar says, is he going to show? Yeah, dog. I went live, so I'm right here. I don't know, y'all. The patience. The patience is crazy. What up, though? Raw Detroit. What's up? What's up? Is Dollar General Brad or Dollar General going to be in the show? That's funny. I think you're talking about Brad Holmes. Now I'm freaked out about my. That's funny. Okay. I don't know, man. YouTube been acting weird this year. It's been weird, man. It's been down like that. They keep changing the app and like the way stuff looks, man. It's super duper weird. But what up, though, everybody? Good morning, wherever you're from. If you're on the West Coast, it is still morning for you. If you are an East Coast like me, well, no. Yeah, if you're on the East Coast, it's afternoon, obviously, and West Coast still morning. The Detroit Lions, man, what a game yesterday, right? First overtime game we've had in a long time, and a game that shouldn't have happened. Overtime with the Giants should not have happened. The Lions played arguably their worst defensive game of the year, there were a combined total of over 1,000 yards between both teams. Jahmyr Gibbs saved the day. Unbelievable. Put up over 60 fantasy points, depending on how your league is point like graded. And I still lost my fantasy matchup. You know why? Because Jameson Williams was in there, and that was a bad idea. So I might not even draft him going forward. Like he's my new AJ Brown. I don't know if I'm gonna draft Jameson Williams anymore. So we are in the building, and the Lions are 7-4, and outside the playoffs looking in. The Bears are still leading the NFC North. The Vikings are pretty much done. They're going to start an undrafted quarterback because J.J. McCarthy is in concussion protocol, so they're pretty much done. So the NFC North is going to be a 3-team race, and there's a team playing tonight that right now is in the playoffs. So we are going to need a Carolina Panther win for the Lions to be in the 7th seed. But I'm going to tell you what, there's a guy who used to play for this team. His name is Matthew Stafford, and we talked about this on Friday. I think that the LA Rams are Super Bowl bound. What I saw yesterday was insane. I think the LA Rams might be the best team in the NFL, and they are definitely the best team in the NFC. And that pains me beyond more than you know, that the I'm saying that, but that is the truth. I watched the game last night. It was pretty much the first or second time I've been able to watch Stafford and the Rams, and he wasn't even trying yesterday. And this is why, like, Devontae Adams, I need us to do something as Lions fans. We got to stop calling everybody washed. If you don't play for the Detroit Lions, that doesn't mean that you're washed. I made a video about 2 gentlemen that one we probably really didn't need. It would have been a pipe dream. And the other one is a guy that we could have brought here. Now, I'm not saying of course he would have had to come here. And with Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't know if he would have, but you know what? He might have, because Puka Nacua was the number 1 wide receiver when Devontae Adams signs with the LA Rams. And if Devontae Adams makes the Rams Super Bowl, wins a Super Bowl with the Rams, oh my God. But got to stop using the word washed if you don't play for our team. You got to stop using it. I actually might do a video today on Lions Syndicate Film Room about the pathetic attempt to tackle Jameis Winston from Derek Barnes. In no world should that have happened. I went and watched. I was watching the highlights and stuff yesterday because for some reason I can't get all 22 until like the next day. Derek Barnes, Jameis Winston made him look silly. They made him look silly for sure. Hold on. Let me catch up. Let me catch up where we at. Let me see why we need pass rushers if we can let Aleem McNeil play edge rusher, man. Okay, Jose, is that a joke? Is that like, are you being sarcastic? I don't want to play Thursday. I don't want to play this Thursday game. I wish it was old OT. Gibbs would have won the game. You know what, Cohen? I don't mind the new rules. The only thing I don't like about the new OT rules is that there's a 10-minute clock. I really believe that you should, if you were going to have both teams possess the football, you should have made it a full 15, like back in the day, where it was a full 15. It needs to be because if you're going to give the teams the chance to possess the ball, you should give them ample time. Like the 10-minute, because now that teams are kicking away first and the first score wins or doesn't win, if the first team drains the entire clock and kicks a field goal, then the second team has to do the same in less amount of time. I think it would just be better if it was like that. What up, Chris? Raw Detroit says, remember a couple years ago when we wanted Danielle Hunter? Look at Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. doing 11 sacks for Hunter and 10.5 for Will Anderson Jr. Yeah, bro, that's something we're going to talk about as well. Derek, do you think Dan Campbell play calling has affected how we prepare since he has to shift his attention? Should we give Johnny Moe another chance? See, that's going to be hard, bro, because Dan Campbell has already said he's taking play calling over for the rest of the season. And I think there's a reason for that. There's a reason he did that. And I think it's because what we talked about earlier, Johnny Morton lost the locker room. That's what I believe. I believe it, man. But I do agree with you, and that's actually going to be on Lions Syndicate. I'm going to do my overreaction Monday, and that's going to be a segment, a part of that. So Rams look good. Defense is crazy good. Stafford and the Rams are looking flawless, hate to say. We need a pass rush. AQM, the guy people said was miles better than Za'Darius, has been a ghost. Yeah, he has. Is Gibbs, what up, Jay? Says, is Gibbs a future Hall of Famer? Is Gibbs a future Hall of Famer? That game he had yesterday, wow. Yeah, yesterday was crazy, bro. What's up, Sergey? Can you agree that Stafford is better than Goof now? All right, so here's the deal. I'm not going to tolerate any goof, right? If you spell Jared Goff's name, spell it Goff. If you spell it Goof, I'm going to delete your comment. And the only way I'm not going to delete your comment is if you add Brad Holmes in there. I am going to delete comments now that have Goof. As a matter of fact, I might add them to my block list. If you're going to type in Jared Goof, make sure you include Brad Holmes. I'm not doing this anymore, bro. I'm not doing this anymore because I'm not going to tolerate any Jared Goff slander without slandering Brad Holmes. It's not going to happen. You might have got away with that before the extension came, but I will not tolerate it because I am so sick to death of this man getting a pass. So if you're going to use Jared Goff, you make sure you criticize Brad Holmes in the same sentence. I am not even joking. I'm not joking at all. Exactly. That's the first thing I said, washed until that washed paper player cooking us. You know what I think it is? I think fan bases say that as a coping mechanism. Devontae Adams in no world has ever been washed. Ever. He was not washed with the Green Bay Packers. He wasn't washed with the Raiders. They were just terrible. He gets with a competent organization, and he's far from it. He leads the league in touchdown receptions, a washed wide receiver. And I don't know if y'all watched the game yesterday, but the dude was still cooking, bro. I cannot stand this. Devontae Adams is a Hall of Famer. And we were the first ones to call him wash. If I was Brad, I would have, man, you talking about cook? I would have been like, yo, then you can get rid of Tim Patrick. Could you imagine this offense with Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, bro? Man. But no, we had to let him go to our old quarterback. So it's whatever, man. Winston was balling yesterday. Like I said, the AQM lovers ain't saying nothing now. Let me see. Yes, being sorry. Oh, Jose, my bad, bro. I can't tell sarcasm in text. So that's my fault, bro. I apologize for that. Aleem McNeil is not a good pass rushing at the edge position. That's facts. Aleem stinks. Why are people saying his name? Brad overpaid him, and Barnes, we could have used that money for someone who is actually good. That should let us know we all need to know what you see Aleem. Okay, how many snaps do you think Aleem played yesterday? I didn't look. I didn't look to see. I didn't look to see. Goff was actually playing out of his mind. He averages two passing TDs a game. He also his passer rating was 106. The Lions, what's up 365? Bro, Lions. Listen, bro. There's nothing to talk about, bro. Like real talk. There's nothing to talk about. I'll be looking forward to your AQ video later. There's nothing to talk about, bro. I put out a poll and 3% said he was elite. The majority said he was great. I'm not going to do it, bro. I know you love this guy. You love him like Detroit Lions fans love Brad Holmes. But if you are as good as they say you are, and we throw that away. Let's say he was against a harder matchup. You don't miss a third down and 17 sack, bro. You don't miss it. You can't do it, bro. So at that point, I'm throwing the towel. Your guy has had his career sack staring him in the face for 3 games, and he's been MIA. He had his career sack on the line yesterday, and he blew it, bro. I cannot do it anymore. I'm not doing it. Bro, Raw Detroit, I think, what's up, Stat? I am doing that. I think I'm going to do a Lion Syndicate film room on Derek Barnes because I watched that play yesterday, bro, and I'm like, it's ridiculous. So, all right, let's do a segment. All right. Derek Barnes is going to wind up on the highlight reel for the highlight reel you don't want to be on for the rest of his life. I actually feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him because I believe he got mossed yesterday. I know that's not the term, but that's what it felt like. By Jameis Winston, if I'm not mistaken, if the broadcast was correct, said his first career touchdown pass. Now, Jared Goff beat a linebacker last year for his first career touchdown pass, I believe it was. But yesterday's was different. If you don't know the play I'm talking about, it was a gadget play. The Giants are playing with house money. They do not care. Their coach got fired. They are playing for pride. Part of them are playing for Brian Dable. Part of them are playing for, I think all of them. They're playing for Dable. They're playing for the new interim coach. Oh, by the way, their defensive coordinator got fired today. Came out like an hour ago. He got fired. All I heard last night was Giants fans talking about this guy needed to be fired. So they do it. They're playing for nothing. By the way, the Giants were eliminated from playoff contention yesterday with the loss. They were the first team eliminated in the 2025 NFL season. So, gadget in around trick play. A pass to, first of all, you miss the tackler. You don't get to tackle him. All right, that was bad enough. Now, granted, it was like a receiver out there. So now you throw the ball to Jameis Winston. But let's go back to Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes was actually rushing the passer during that play. He was hemmed up quite nicely, by the way. But he was rushing the passer. And notice that Jameis Winston was leaking out into the flat. So he goes, he disengages from his block. He goes out there. So he's already behind the 8-ball. Lines up. Jameis passes in the air. Here's where it gets good. So he's already trailing. Jameis stops. Derek slides right past him, right? You have 2 or 3 opportunities to tackle this guy. I'm going to break this play down on Lions Syndicate Film Room, and if I'm Derek Barnes, I am disgusted. That is a play I do not show my kids. I'm telling my children, I want you to stay off the internet. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I let my kids on the internet, period. I don't know if they probably don't got social media. I'm not giving them a tablet. They don't get no iPads. I'm not giving them the Wi-Fi password. They're not on the internet because Jameis Winston made Derek Barnes look like a fool yesterday. He stiff-armed him. First, Derek missed the tackle. Then he stiff-armed him twice. Right? Then he Euro-stepped over him, bro. Unbelievable. You got I cannot believe this. And it looks worse in slow motion. Go back, watch the highlights in slow motion. It looks worse. And keep in mind, Derek Barnes is a linebacker. So he should have the ability, the agileness to stay with Jameis Winston. And there's not a reason that Jameis should have, from the 15-yard line or 12-yard line, whatever it was, been able to high-step his way into the end zone. And that was almost the deciding play. That's, if I'm not mistaken, that put the Giants up by 10. Either way, it was one of the worst. I'm picturing it in my head, and I'm like, yo, I can already see the posters. I can already see the still shots. That is not a place that I want to be. I don't want to be on nobody's poster where a quarterback, you had ample opportunity to tackle a quarterback. Jameson is not a small dude. It's not like it's golf. You know what I'm saying? But still, Jameis is not a small dude. It's not like it's golf. But still, it looked really, really bad. So bad, I don't let my kids on the internet. It ain't no internet. As a matter of fact, we live in off-grid. If I'm Derek Barnes, soon as my career is over or whatever, I'm living off the grid, bro. I'm going on a farm somewhere where we living off solar power. We don't have no electricity. I'm going back to Little House on the Prairie. That's where I'm at. I'm churning butter. I'm washing my own clothes. It ain't no electricity in the house because that right there is especially, it ain't even the part that he missed the tackle. It is when you combine the stiff arm with the Euro step, it is a highlight that will live in infamy. And he scored. Bro. All of this stuff matters. All of this matters. So for me, if I'm DB, my kids ain't on the internet. That's all I'm saying. You know I ain't lying. Let me know your thoughts, man. Derek Barnes, what a bad look. And you know the still shot that I'm referring to. It's somewhere on the internet, there is a freeze frame of Jameis Winston with looking down at Derek Barnes while he's on flat on the ground, man. What a play from Jameis. What a play from Derek. Most people in the chat could have made that tackle. Why does everyone blame Hutch when the pass rush sucks? The Giants game had nothing to lose while the Lions did. At least Barnes did not give up. Dennis, that's true, bro. That's true. I thought we lost the game after we did that in a quick 3-and-out after the interception. And I'm feeling like, yo, if the Giants would have scored, I think they would have won. I think they would have gone for 2 and they would have won. The reason the Giants were scrappy the whole game, they didn't want to be eliminated from playoff contention. And you know what, William? Probably. We've hit that point. Week 12 is around that point where the first team start getting eliminated. I believe that what's the team? The Tennessee Titans are still alive, and I think a lot of teams are going to join the Giants after week 13. Barnes was chirping at fans on Instagram comments after the game. Not a good look at all. Okay, so check this out. Check this out. I don't mind Derek Barnes. What's up, 1021? Says he got cooked, but the only reason he was there because he realized everybody blew coverage. Yeah, hey. What Denzel say? He said, I see a big tray. I'm like, I'm leaving here with something. I'm leaving here with something. And that's what Derek Barnes should have said. He said, I see a big tray. You in no world, bro, are you supposed to get Euro-stepped by a quarterback? Like, unless that quarterback is Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen but Jameis Winston, bro, I can't, dog. I can't. Let me see. We win Thursday. Nobody remember this game. Hopefully, this is our version of Philly versus the Panthers. Okay, so let's talk about AQM. Let's talk about the pass rush. We got to talk about it, bro. Now, if you haven't noticed, I've been off Twitter for the last week, and the first couple of days, it was. I wanted to get back on. I wanted to say something. And yesterday, I wanted to say something as well, but I chose not to. I'm still on my hiatus from Twitter for the next, I don't know, whenever I feel like ending it. But it was kind of amazing yesterday how the people were speaking of the pass rush. And I guess people were blaming Hutch for the lack of whatever he was doing. And I don't see how that's possible. I don't see how you can blame Hutch. Here's where I'm at. I'm to the point where I'm ready to blame no one but Brad Holmes. That's all I'm ready to do. I'm not going to blame anyone but Brad, because Brad is the reason that this team is the way that it is, both good and bad. Now, you can put some blame on Dan Campbell for his coaching and how his play calling, since he's calling the offensive plays. That's fine. I'll give a little bit to Dan. But one thing I can say about Dan Campbell, and I'm going to be real. Let's have a segment. Shout out to C Pool with the super chat. $5 says, NFL average time for QB to throw is 2.7 seconds. The Lions are allowing 3.23. Okay, C Pool, do me a favor. Where is that info coming from? Give me because I'm going to talk about that. So it's good. The average time has gone up from 2.4 to 2.7. And the Lions are allowing half a second more, bro. Can't convince me that they weren't looking ahead to the Packers. What, the Lions? We don't have a true pass rush without Hutch getting at least one. Speaking of Kirby, are we ever going to see him again this season? He missed, 5 games now and was never on IR that I know of. Okay, so nobody cares. The thing about that is the Lions have to be smart with their IR determinations or designations, because you only get 8 elevations during the season. So if you burn, and I think they've already used 5. So if you burn another 2 or 3, and then you get the 2 for the playoffs, right? That's if the Lions make it, because right now the Lions are not in the playoffs. They're not in the playoffs. So I understand that. And Harper's playing pretty well considering, you know what I mean? So I do get that. You have to be very strategic with IR. And so and maybe they didn't expect Kirby to be out as long as he was. Because remember, Kirby played after he was initially injured. He played, I think, that one game, and then he's been out ever since. Okay. So Chris says wrong. In 2025, it is 2.54 for the Lions. Okay, so you're saying, so Chris, what's wrong about that statement? Lisa says, I've been off Twitter for years now. Well, Lisa, the only reason that I engage the only reason that I was on there is because all the NFL news breaks first on Twitter. It doesn't break. Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Tom Pelissero, Mike Garafolo, they all that stuff immediately breaks on Twitter. That's the only reason that I'm over there. So then I start getting a little more active, and it turned into a nightmare. And I'm like, yo, I don't really have anything to say anymore. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, this is going to be Brad's behind. It is what it is. It's all on him. It's all on him. It's all on coach. It's all on the players. I'm just tired. I'm tired of everyone. We're so quick to blame everybody except the man that put this team together. And yes, Jahmyr Gibbs is his highlight. Jahmyr Gibbs is his highlight. All right, but let's have a conversation. The news hit Twitter so early. Bro, Lions, I've seen news or plays hit Twitter before I can see him on TV. And I understand there's maybe a signal delay, or when the draft was going on, I was getting the draft info before it was announced on NFL Network, bro. It was crazy. It was crazy. You have to rattle the cage of the QBs in the playoffs. Let me see. Not even looking forward to. All right, so let's do this. Let's have a I'm trying to wait on that news. Okay, so Chris, if you have the correct info, I mean, C-Pool don't usually miss. So let me know if you got the correct info. I see you deleted. No, you didn't delete that one. Let me know if you got the correct info. And if not, where can I get it from? Not even looking forward to this Thanksgiving game. I can see Parsons going off on golf constantly, and it's showing me better. It show me better that you can handle me at this point. Hey, Derek Hutchinson is getting triple and double teamed every snap. If we had someone like Jalen Phillips opposite of Aiden, the Lions would have been the threat every snap, but Brad is cheap. O-line plays so much better outside of Awasika. We quite could you lose the next few games and be out of the playoffs. Okay, so Will, here's the thing. The Lions are out of the playoffs. And that's why I was telling y'all, Green, y'all in the NFL, there's a term that does not exist. We can afford to lose said game. And no one says that in the NFL. I promise you that. Nobody said that when we went to go play the Chiefs. But because they were in the AFC, we can afford to lose this game. Now that one game is the difference between the third seed and being out the playoffs. The NFL is the one league that you cannot afford to lose games. I don't understand that. We can't lose to the Packers and the Rams. My bad. I was stating what our offense was, allowing Goff to pass, which is 2.5. C-Pool was talking about our D-line, my fault. Okay, takes a big man to apologize. All right, so let's do this. You guys know that I've been adamant about the pass rush, and I've had enough. I've had enough of the glazing of Brad Holmes. I'm tired of it. The man has put together a fantastic team over the first in a very short time, and for that I give him credit. But he has to be held accountable for his lack of moves. I have lost a little bit of respect for him. Now you might be like, well, Derek, you never respected him. That's not true. I just haven't glazed him. I respect what this man has done, but I've lost a little bit of respect for him. His claim to fame is Jahmyr Gibbs. It really is. That's his claim to fame is Jahmyr Gibbs. He made the man wear a positional value villain hoodie. Okay? If you got the gauze to wear a positional value hoodie, where was you at the trade deadline, bro? Why is your coach answering questions that should be reserved for you? And now we got a super chat from C-Pool, who states this. NFL average time for QBs to throw in 2025 is 2.7 seconds. Now, a couple of years ago, it was 2.4. So it's gone up by 0.3 of a second. The Lions are allowing 3.23 seconds to throw. It's about half a second more. And in half a second could be the difference between a strip sack fumble and an incompletion. A half a second could be the difference between a strip sack fumble, a game-winning sack like we saw in Week 12 with Aiden Hutchinson and the Giants, and a giant play that we saw from the Giants in Week 12 versus the Giants. One man, in my opinion, is to blame for this. One. That's it. This is what Brad Holmes has done. Now we keep on saying when we use we're good. Dan Campbell said that. But we look at Brad. I never heard Brad say it. Dan Campbell said we good. But him and Brad share the same brain, right? When Zadarius Smith, now I know he retired. That's not the point. The point is when at the time Zadarius Smith was still an option. And who knows what would happen if he was on the Detroit Lions. I think one of the reasons he retired was he lost passion for the game, and I can see that. You win two different cities in the same year, you probably done. You got little kids, I get it. But that's not the point. Because beyond Zadarius Smith, if you go back to the offseason, Brad Holmes in particular, if you watch him and you watch the fact that there's a particular subject that he can't stand talking about. It is the pass rush. He hates talking about it. The media grilled him this offseason about a pass rusher. We, even from the draft, in every category, we had an opportunity. And in free agency, what does he do? We're not even talking about necessarily the edge position. What does he do? No lie, in free agency, your bold move was re-signing Marcus Davenport, who was coming off of, let me remind you, 2 season-ending injuries. That was your power move. You signed a practice squad dude whose career high is 6.5 sacks. That practice squad dude in Al-Qadim Muhammad has been missing no sacks for 3 games now. You draft a 6th-round pick. And one thing that annoys me about Lions fans is this excitement and we put this pressure on these people. And it's like, what are we basing this reaction off of? And what I mean by that is Ahmed Hassanin. He's a 6th-round pick. I know his family chimes in to everyone's YouTube videos. I don't know if this guy is really his dad, but his dad I've seen his dad, his stepmom, his brother, used to appear on podcasts after he was drafted. So they claim this guy and they love him and they should. And they rep for him. They should. I would do the same thing. At the same time, the dude is a 6th-round pick. He was a 6th-round pick for a reason, and he's done nothing in the NFL right now. I love the guy's attitude. I love it. I love the fact that he would die for Dan Campbell. I love the fact that he didn't want to go anywhere else. He chose to stay in Detroit because he literally could have gone to any NFL team and not affected their 53-man roster. He wanted to stay in Detroit. I love that. And that speaks volumes of him. But as far as his ability in the NFL, we have yet to see it. But I lost respect for Brad Holmes. I have, because I lost it when you didn't speak at the trade deadline, when you knew we could have used an offensive lineman, when you knew, and when it comes to the D-line, if you go back and you watch the tape, it's the same. The reaction has gotten this offseason in particular. He was real chippy when he was asked about the D-line, that everyone saw that there was going to be a problem with. In the offseason, we all saw it, everybody but him. But he put his trust in a guy that is coming off 2 season-ending injuries. He put his trust in a 6th-round pick. He put his trust in a guy, okay, that is battling cancer. Love you, Josh. Get well. Win that battle. He put his faith in what's the word I'm looking for? In the underachieving 2nd-round pick in Levi Onwuzurike. He put his faith in there. Everyone outside of the Lions organization saw the disaster that was in the making. And on top of that, our star defensive end is coming off a season-ending injury himself. And you decide that you're not going to do anything of significant value on the D-line. When it comes to the edge, you draft a rookie. Okay, we talked about it last week, about the pedestrian of Brad Holmes. That he is looking mighty pedestrian. Think about it. Jahmyr Gibbs is his claim to fame. It is. I'm not saying that he's a bad drafter, but if you dissect the draft and you start looking at the later half of 2023 up until now, not a great turnout. It's not. Terrion, we don't know yet. We don't know. Tyleek, too early to tell. Right now, Roy Lopez is in the game. Okay? We'll give rookies some slack. We'll cut him some slack. Even Ahmed, we'll cut him some slack. We'll give those guys some slack. But outside of that, you had an opportunity to properly, and when I say properly address the D-line, this is what I'm talking about. DJ Reader. We can't get, so right now, along with the 3-point, you know what, C-Pool, if you're still here, where does that rank? Where does 3.23 seconds rank in the NFL in getting to the quarterback? I know that the Lions were dead last in pass rush win rates a few weeks ago. I don't know if that went up. I knew yesterday Hutch had, in week 12, had 6 quarterback hits, which set some type of record for the Lions. It was a new franchise record or something like that. The Lions, a couple of weeks ago, were 2nd in sacks. Right now, they are currently 8th. Now, they are ahead of some teams with better records than them. And that's because we've had our offensive woes. If our offensive woes were not offensive woes, then we probably would be have a better record than those teams. But when it's all said and done, as we saw yesterday, sacks, you need a you need somebody to close out the game. And yesterday was the perfect example of what I've been saying. Aiden Hutchinson worked his tail off, and it took overtime to get 1 sack yesterday. And now the Detroit Lions go from second. They went from second to fourth to sixth. And in the span of 1 week are now 8th. And could very well, Myles Garrett had 3 sacks yesterday. The Cleveland Browns had 10 sacks yesterday. And the Cleveland Browns are now like number 2 or 3 in sacks. They suck because of their offense. Their defense has been top 5. At one point, it was 1 in the NFL. And when you got a guy like Myles Garrett, and that's why I don't think Hutch is Myles Garrett, right? He can be, or he can be close to. Myles is a specimen, real talk. But we got to have someone else. But Myles ain't alone, though. Myles is not. He had 3 of the 10. The rest of the team has 7. Myles ain't alone. Hutch pretty much is. On a consistent basis. Myles in the last 2 weeks has 8 sacks in the last 2 games. And that's why you give up 2, maybe 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. Let me know what you think. What is your opinion on Brad Holmes right now? And like I said, I've been talking about this for a long time. I have nothing. I got one man on my target list. That's it. That's one. Jared Goff gets enough blame. Dan Campbell gets enough blame. I mean, the kicker gets enough blame. Everyone gets blame. There's one, the guy that puts this team together is the person that I'm focusing on. Because it's his decisions, the good and the bad, that put this team together. He doesn't have anything to do with how they play, with how they're coached to play. But the person, and we're at the point that we talked about last week. Is it time that the Detroit Lions start to put talent over everything? Right now, it's grit over talent. Should the Detroit Lions start to prioritize talent over everything? Leave it in the comments below. Have you gotten to the point where you're ready for some talent more than you're ready for grit, more than you're ready for character? These are real conversations because not all of these 1,000+ football players are going to be Boy Scouts. And I'm trying to think, when was the last time a Boy Scout team, a team full of Boy Scouts, won the Super Bowl? That's what I want to know. When was the last time a team full of Boy Scouts won the Super Bowl? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me see. I missed a lot of y'all comments. Let me see. At least Philly lost. That's why I like the NFL. Every game counts. I like the 100+ games in the NBA. Well, the NBA, nobody cares, only got 82. It only got 82. And the MLB is like, dog. I mean, Lord, so 162 games. That I think the way basketball is played, I think 82 is cool. I think 82 is the perfect number. 41 at home, 41 away. You got a game every other day. You know what I'm saying? I can deal with 82. It's a season that spans what? 6 months. 8 months, including the playoffs and the NBA finals. It goes from like early November to mid-June. And I mean, I would love if the NFL season was as short as the NBA, or NFL offseason was as short as the NBA's. It's like the season ends and then kids get back into school and they're playing again. It's crazy. Dolo says he needs to be held accountable. Okay, so listen. Nobody is saying fire Brad Holmes. I have never said that I want the Detroit Lions to fire him or that he's going to get fired. What I did say was, just like everybody that has a job to do, Brad Holmes is under contract for 2 more seasons after this one. Then he needs an extension. That's what I've been saying. In 2023, Dan and him earned an extension of 1 and 2 years respectively. Now they got to do it again. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Brad Holmes is not going to get fired. He doesn't deserve to be fired. He might not get renewed, though. I mean, here's the thing, and we've had this question before. What does Brad Holmes, your honest, non-Honolulu Blue Kool Aid version, being honest, like not take the glasses off, stop drink, spit out the Kool Aid, unless it's spiked, then keep drinking it. Shout out. You see what I did there? I'm so smooth. But take the glasses off. If you're Sheila Hamp Ford, what does Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have to do for you to extend them? If you're Sheila Hamp, what do? We haven't seen Brad since before the draft. Wow. Okay, Dolo, no, that's not true. That is not true. I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just saying that's not true. Brad did the season, so he did get up there right as the preseason ended. Is it the preseason where him and Ray Agnew does the final thing? That's the last time we saw him. Okay. Okay, a Super Bowl. Where is Brad Holmes? I haven't seen him. Let me see. There's enough grit and character on this team that it can handle one or two beats with a little attitude. And let me see. Corey says pretty soon MCDC is going to start getting the heat, the clean stuff up and crying getting old. All right, so Cohen says make the NFC Championship game. Yeah, so Dolo, he did a like end of off season. So the end of off season is officially over after it was either after training camp or right before the season started. I can't remember, but the trade deadline fiasco is just pathetic to me. All right, so Google, wait a minute, let me go. Josh Rock Music. Hey, bro, shout out to your video, man, because it was a really good video. The Odell Beckham Jr. joint did pretty well. Isaac Tesla, that did extremely well. Like, that was crazy, man. A lot of people was paying attention to that one. Says, hey, Derek, I agree with your take on the D-line, but I think it was more about the game plan this week. We prepared for Dart. Seems like the line practiced to eliminate the scramble over sacks. I hear you, bro. I hear you. That's a valid point. I hear you. If I'm Sheila, I extend whoever gives me the most expensive season tickets. Brad is doing his job in that regard. Wow. That's crazy, Google. That's crazy. Grit can only get you so far. We're selling more than ever. Yeah, I don't see us making any changes, sadly. That's crazy. There's enough. Okay, I think I read that one. There's enough grit, character on this team now that it can handle some next level talent that has some attitude issues and still stay healthy to grit, stay true to that grit character mentality. Yo, Derek, Brad Holmes hit picks like Sewell, Gibbs, Barnes, Hutchinson, but he has missed on late round picks. Roger Martin, for example, in the third round. See, I wouldn't call Derek Barnes a hit. I wouldn't call him a hit. I mean, Derek Barnes was a fourth round pick. So I don't know. That's just me. That's just my assessment of Derek Barnes. I wouldn't say that he's a hit. But, that's just my opinion. Maybe we need a new slogan instead of grit. Do you think Ahmed can be that guy? Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? I should make a video on it because his family a comment. Do y'all know if that's actually his family going around commenting? Derek Barnes is a fourth round pick. Starts and does everything. When is Ahmed? He's back right now, Cohen. He's back right now. Yeah, I wouldn't call him a hit, though. 365. How is Barnes not a hit? Did you see yesterday's play? A hit, bro? Okay. So we just throwing the word hit on everybody? And I'm not talking about Will. Y'all think Derek Barnes is a hit? That's what y'all think. He isn't a hit. He's a good player. Keeping us relevant is job security. Going all in, then having to rebuild puts Brad's job at risk. So you just summed it up then. You just summed it up, bro. We're never going to do anything. If he ain't hurting her pocketbook, do you think she really cares? Usually, ooh, okay, let's do it. All right, we getting some feisty feedback in the comment section. We getting some feisty feedback. And it's crazy because there was two ways that yesterday's game against the Giants, the outcome from some of the fan base. One way was that we lose and there's a total meltdown. And two is that we win and there is still some questions. And if you've been watching any of my channels, you know that I am beyond everybody. I got one person in my crosshairs metaphorically, and that is Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes has done a tremendous amount. I cannot give him praise enough, 100%. He's taken take this team from the gutter to a playoff contending team. And the fact that we're hearing the word Super Bowl with the Detroit Lions is outstanding. We went from a joke to giving the smoke in a very short time. But that's only half the battle. Shout out to G.I. Joe, the 80s, and my childhood. Shout out to Gen X, bro. Pre-internet, best generation to me in the last 200 years. But that's just me. I could be biased. That's only half the battle. The other half of the battle is getting to the Super Bowl and winning it. I think that a pass rusher would help us do that. You want to blame Josh Reynolds? I blame not having somebody opposite Aiden who can actually get to the quarterback. We had Romeo Okwara. It was the opposite DN. I don't even know what his stats were that year. But we're talking about Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell getting extensions. And I've asked the chat, what do you think that has to be done from Brad and or Dan to get an extension past 2027? If you don't know, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell were given two different deals. Remember, the Lions had a consulting firm. They fired Matt Patricia in the middle of the season. If I was a NFL owner and I knew I was going to part ways with my coach at the end of the season and my team was out of playoff contention, I would fire that guy mid-season. Because after watching what you can get a massive head start on the progress, the process of hiring a coach and how it turned out for the Lions. I would use them as my barometer for, hey, the Lions did it mid-season, and by January, when everybody was looking for a coach, we had one. And he wasn't a guy that was a head coach. He wasn't a guy that we was waiting to get fired. He wasn't even like a coordinator that we were waiting to hire, right? Like one of these guys like Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, a guy who's been in the coaching, you're hearing his name a lot. But what is it going to take for them to earn their second extension? They did earn their first one after getting the team in 2023 was outstanding. Not only did we win the NFC North for the first time in its existence, we won and hosted our first playoff game at Ford Field. Okay? We beat our former quarterback, and we went all the way to the NFC Championship game. After that year was over, they earned an extension. It's called doing your job good, getting rewarded as such. Now, it's been 2 years since that. Well, 2 football seasons almost. The end of this year will be 2. Lions are still in Super Bowl contention until they're not, right? Meaning, got to get to the playoff. Right now, they're on the outside looking in with 6 games to go. They got 3 division opponents. 2 of them are in the playoffs, the Green Bay Packers and the Bears. So they have to beating them is the number one priority. Got to sweep the Bears, split with the Packers, split with the Vikings, because when it's all said and done, that will help. That will help. But the question that I have for you is, when should Sheila extend Brad and or Dan? What would they have to do if you were Sheila? Would they have to progress further than they did in 2023? Would they have to equal that? Or would they have to progress from last year when we went 5-2 and got eliminated in the playoffs, when we had attrition as an excuse? What do they have to do? For me, and this might shock you, but for me, it's not all about getting to the Super Bowl. If it were up to me, and it's not, I'm just saying, a lot of y'all are happy about that. But if I'm Sheila, I love what Brad has done to this team. First of all, Brad is my number one. He's my number one. Dan, love the guy. Love the guy. Dan stands up there, takes it when he makes a mistake, you know, I will keep Dan. That's just me. Don't forget, these guys were not hired together. They didn't come in as a package deal, right? That's what I mean by not hired together. So for me, I need to see progress, but it's not just about record or how far we go in the playoffs. I need to see that you, as a general manager, see the deficiencies on your team and are willing to address them properly. If you fail and you made a move, I might be able to live with that depending on what move it was, right? If you traded for Myles Garrett, no one would be mad. If he got hurt, everybody would blame you. That's the price you pay. But nobody would be upset with that. The first two words that's going to come out of your mouth that you can say on the internet or in front of your kids, because the first two words you couldn't say, right? The second two words you're going to say, put it in the comment section. What is the first phrase, the first two words, or the second two words that you're going to say if the Lions were to have traded for Myles Garrett? What are you going to say? Super Bowl. Everyone in this chat, everybody would say it. It's Super Bowl. Cohen says he would say, let's go. And then after you said, let's go, you're going to say, let's go. We're going to the Super Bowl. Those are the first two things you're going to say, right? So what I need to see, it's not even about how far they go because things happen. For you to get to the Super Bowl, everything has to fall in place perfectly. You literally have to be perfect to make it to the Super Bowl. So it's not necessarily about making the Super Bowl. It is, you got to show me that you are not comfortable being content. That's what I need to see from you. So if I'm Sheila Ford, or Sheila Hemp, I apologize. If I'm Sheila Hemp, she dropped the Ford. If I'm Sheila Hemp, I say, Brad, Dan, you've done a tremendous job. Back in 2023, here's where we were. We seem to be going a little backwards. I need to know, how are we going forward? What is your plan? That's it. And I have a separate conversation. I have one with Dan, and I tell Dan, and I have another one with Brad. Well, Brad, why didn't we make it? Because y'all remember now, Sheila don't know nothing, right? She's not like a football mind or anything like that. So she was asking Brad if this is a good pick. She trusts Brad Holmes, right? So she's like, is this a good pick? Brad's like, blah, 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 blah. Yes, it is. So if I'm Brad, I need to know what we doing. If I'm Sheila, I'm saying, why didn't we make a move at a trade deadline? What are we doing? What's happening? Right? I ask about Broderick Martin. I'm sorry. I ask, so Brad, what happened here? What happened here? Or at least I have my football people do it. What did you see to make you trade up for Broderick Martin? If I am Sheila Hemp, I am asking about Isaac Tesla. Why did we trade Tim Patrick? What's going on here? That's just me. So for me, what I need to see is I need to see progression. And I need to see, that's what I need to see. If you look at the Rams, and this is the biggest slap in the face that I think for the Detroit Lions. The Rams are playing outstanding football. Shout out to C-Pool because he keeps dropping the knowledge. The Lions had 2 first-round picks, took them away from the Rams. Well, were given by the Rams their 2 first-round picks. On top of that, the Rams didn't have first-round picks because of Jalen Ramsey. And then they decided to give the next 2 for Matthew Stafford. And both of those individuals did what, ladies and gentlemen? Helped them win a Super Bowl. They helped them win a Super Bowl. They then had a down year, which got us Jahmyr Gibbs. And then they picked up right where they left off. We put them out of the playoffs. Y'all was scared of Matthew Stafford. Y'all was debating, should we wear his jersey? Should we cheer? Should we tribute him when we trying to win our first playoff game? The year after that, they are a Jalen Carter sack away from going to the next round, the NFC Championship game. And they would have beat the Washington Commanders 100%. And they would have been the team in the Super Bowl. And now Stafford, the year after that, MVP frontrunner, has thrown 27 touchdowns with no interceptions and is definitely on a Super Bowl trajectory, is currently the number 1 seed in the NFC. And they did all this without first-round picks for 4 consecutive years. 4 consecutive years. It might have been 6, but I know it was 4. All that while we are debating and so if I am Sheila Hemp, I need to know, how do you get us there? How do you get us there, Brad? That's what I need to know. And then after that, I make my decision. That's what I do. And let me ask you this, chat. Right now, Brad and Dan are here through 2027. How long, if you were to have that conversation with Brad and Dan, how long do you extend them? Because here is something that we need to think about. All right? Here's something we need to think about. The way, and I think this was done on purpose, the way that Jared Goff's contract is set up, let's not forget that Brad Holmes, who makes the personnel decisions, was the one that decided not to draft a quarterback, okay? Because, I'm sorry, Hendon Hooker is the only quarterback drafted under Brad and Dan, and he's not on the team anymore. I don't even know if he's actually in the NFL. I know he was trying out or maybe been signed to a practice squad. I don't remember. But if I'm Brad, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, if I'm Sheila, I'm trying to figure out, how are we going forward? What are we going to do? So right now, how long would you decide to extend? If you were to sit down and have that conversation with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and you like what you heard, how long would you give them? They're here through 2027. This is what I was going to say. Jared Goff, his contract, to me, was done the way it was done on purpose, because after the Lions have a potential out, after his 3rd year of new money, that is the exact year that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are done when their contracts are up. And if neither one of them was to come back, the Lions, the new regime, could draft their own guy. I think that's why the Lions have a potential out, because it puts Jared Goff, Brad Holmes, and Dan Campbell all connected. They all came at the same time. They all could go at the same time. So for me, I have that if we fall short of a Super Bowl win, we all good. I'm extending you on the spot. A Super Bowl appearance, I'm going to extend you. I'm going to give you another year. Super Bowl appearance, I'm going to give you another year. So you'll have 3. Super Bowl win, I'm giving you another 3. You will have 5. Y'all both here for 2 years. Anything short of that, I'm having a conversation in the offseason. I want a plan, because we blinked our eye, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been 5 years. We're going into year 6. I want a plan. I want to know how you're getting it done. I want to see it in action, and then we go from there. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see, man. But that's a shame. We're talking about all this after a win. It's how we won. We should have blown the Giants out. There's no doubt about it. But let me know your thoughts. Corby says, I would not extend Brad at all. Sup, Sergey says, question for you, Derek. If that does happen, when Dan and Brad leaves and Jared Goff leaves, what we will do, I want to ask everybody that also, to the way I look at it, and be the same it was for a long time. Did you see one of the Giants kick Goff in the head? Yes, I saw that. He kicked them in the head twice. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. He kicked them and then the other foot kicked him. And I'm like, is that a penalty? And it was crazy. a personal foul on a celebration. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen that called or heard that called. So anyway, guys, I forgot to talk about my people, man. I forgot to talk about my people. Hold on. Oh, man. All right, let me. Okay. Wait. Do I have it pulled up? I almost forgot, man. All right, so I did reach out to Nick, and I did not get a response. So hopefully I'll hear from him sometime soon, and I can give you guys a idea of when or if he'll be able to, start putting content on the channel. I will be honest. Derek Barnes was responsible for the playoff win in 2023 against the Bucks. Derek, Will. I mean, did he help in the game? Yes, but I mean, we were up 8, so it would have required a score and a 2-point conversion. They would have had to go the whole length of the field. I'm not taking anything away from DB. He helped make that not a possibility, and I appreciate him for that. But to say that he's responsible, I don't know, man. I mean, look, Derek Barnes has been playing well. He got an extension, and I am, okay. That's not, it's like all I can say, bro. It's okay. Okay. All right. It's one more thing I want to talk about. All right. Okay. Stats. There we go. Okay. Let me see. Davenport would be hurt even faster that way. If we win the NFC North, they both get extended realistically. Wow. Okay, so Josh, how long do they give them? If we went, bro, I would be. If that's not enough for me, bro, because we win. Okay, so we 3-peat NFC North. You still got 2 years after that. If we win the NFC North, for me, bro, I don't know. I don't know. If we make. Maybe, like I said, if we make the NFC Championship game, maybe I extend them by a year. But if we don't, I don't know. Bro. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that at all. All right, so we got one more thing that I would like to talk about. Where is the Oh, there it is. Saturday? Wait, was it Saturday? Yeah. Right. Okay. All right, man. Yeah, they did their thing, man. Okay, well, let me see where the comment section is at. Let me see. The way that the defense was, they probably going to get the whole way. Winning the division means absolutely nothing. To me, a Super Bowl or nothing, plain and simple. I'm not extending either till we make the championship game at least. I would extend Dan Campbell before Brad Holmes. Dan is the perfect coach for this team. Brad leaves a lot to be desired. I can't disagree with that. OG, do you think we can beat the Packers on the where our O-line is playing? I don't know, because Micah Parsons now has double-digit sacks. Did you see they put AQM as DT in the last drive? Lee Skoy did not. Loyski, I did not see that, bro. How many years did it take for Joe Flacco and the Ravens to win? They made the AFC Championship like 2 or 3 times before breaking through to win the Super Bowl. Daquan, what is your point, bro? What is your point? The Baltimore Ravens are an expansion franchise that's been around for 29 years, bro. The Baltimore Ravens are an expansion franchise that they won with Trent Dilfer and them. Come on, dog. And that's I don't understand this about Lions fans. I just don't. We just so content. We're such lovable losers that we're so content. We are the NFL. The Detroit Lions are the NFL, bro. 1934. Don't forget about the Portsmouth Spartans. Like, dog, what is we talking about? And we're the bummy, raggedy, offensively driven or defensively driven expansion team won a Super Bowl before us. And we are talking about Joe Flacco? Come on, bro. What is this? You keep bringing up it's been years. We only been good for 2. Daquan, that's my point. That's exactly my point. But if you were here for the whole show, you heard what I said. We only been good for 2 years. But what Brad sits on his hands. That's what my issue is. He sits on his hands, bro. That's what he does. There is no reason he should have been quiet at the trade deadline at all. In free agency, what exactly did he do outside of DJ Reed? What did he do? Then you trade up for Isaac Tesla, who ain't even being used. Why? Why did you do that? Okay, fine. You thought he was a diamond in the rough. You trade for him, but then you give away Tim Patrick, and then you'll say that Odell Beckham Jr. is a diva. I mean, maybe he is. He sure is. But the team, we trying to win bowls, bro. We're not trying to be in contention every year. We're trying to win Super Bowls. The Rams said, literally forget them picks. Where Brad is like, the 2 plus the 4, and let me see. I'm looking at the draft compensation chart. Let me see here. If it's saying that Broderick Martin is worth trading up for. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm seeing right now. I'm saying that if we carry the 2 and divide the 4, that Broderick Martin is a steal. Put the card in, Brad. Put it in, Dan. And then here's the reaction. Whoa! 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 Come on, dog. The dude sits on his hands. Howie Roseman over there, like, literally sounding like Steve Urkel. I don't know. Well, we're not just going to, if we see an opportunity, we're going to take it. We're going to go out there and get this guy, and I don't believe in regrets now. We're trying to win Super Bowls. And here's Brad Holmes. Let me make sure I here's Brad Holmes. Brad, why didn't you get a pass rusher? People's been talking about getting a pass rusher, that the Detroit Lions defensive line needs some help. Here's Brad. Why are you asking this? Why are you asking about it? Is it because Aiden is hurt? Is that why you're talking? Because we got an elite pass rusher. We have an elite. That's got to be the only reason. It's not because you signed Marcus Davenport in free agency and he's done nothing for you. It's not because you got full of practice squad dudes. It's because it's a legit question. And Brad's response is, well, how many teams in the NFL, right? 32, right? Everybody knows that. How many teams? And then the stuttering like he don't know, right? So he playing stupid. How many teams in the National Football League? 32, right? How many elite pass rushers would you say in the National Football League? About 5, 6, right? That's fair. That's fair. 5, 6 is fair. And we got one, right? We got one. What's he talking about, bro? What is we talking about? That's my issue. Is that it doesn't matter. Y'all the ones talking all this that we about to be. Y'all talking about dynasties. You said yourself we've been good 2 years, and you know what I hear from the mass of the majority of the fan base? We talking about dynasties, bro. I cannot believe it. I'm hearing Brad ain't building for a Super Bowl. He's building for a dynasty. That might be the dumbest quote in sports history. Playoffs? Playoffs? About playoffs? We just trying to win a bowl. What are we talking about, bro? That's what's wrong with this fan base. And it ain't at you, Daquan, but that's what's wrong with this fan base, bro. We have been losers for so long that a slither of winning, and now our stuff don't stink. And from where I'm sitting, it smell real bad. It smelled real bad. It's like when you ate something and you like, whoa, that's what I smell. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. The fan base, it's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. We get an ounce, a taste of winning, and now we are unbeatable. We look pretty beatable to me. And if you notice, Brad didn't have nothing to say until he drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. And I can't be mad at him for that. I cannot be mad because I know, not to his level, obviously, but when your opinion and when you are criticized all the time, like I am, and I do it to him, I got no issue. Sometimes you gotta stand up for yourself, bro. So I'm not mad at the positional value. I'm like, okay, y'all, somebody put in the comment section that we traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones because we lost, what's his name? Marvin Jones. That could be true. And then the dude did nothing. And my thing is, okay, you mean to tell me in free agency, Brad couldn't lure nobody over here? You couldn't bring Andrew Van Ginkel, Carl Lawson? You couldn't bring Jadeveon Clowney? You couldn't do none of that? Your best move was Marcus Davenport again? And then a second time? That was your move? Your best move was re-signing Levi, oh, by the way, who has not taken a snap in the 2025 season? Your best move was re-signing Emmanuel Mosley? You signed him and then re-signed him again? That was your best move? What are we doing, bro? And why you getting shown up by other GMs? And I am not going to apologize, but I'm looking at the Rams like, hey, Les, show him how it's done, bro. Show him how it's done. Show him how it's done. Because guess what? We were in a position to give up a first-round pick. Now we're not, because we need a first-round center. Forget my pass rush. Forget about it. As a matter of fact, I'm about to go sign a one-day contract so I can line up out there. Maybe I can train with AQM. Who knows? Now we got to get a center, a stud. So now my pass rushing dreams are done. They're done. We have 4 people on the D line under contract for next year. 4. It's either 4 or 5. That's it. And one of them is Tyleik Williams, Mekhi Wingo, Aiden Hutchinson, and it's one more. I think it might be Lacey. That is it. That D-line ain't scaring nobody. Ain't scaring Aleem McNeil. It's Aleem, Tyleik, Lacey, Wingo, and Hutch. Those are our 5 people on defensive line under contract. You scared of that defensive line? I'm not at all. So anyway, we out of time. All right, that's the show. I need that overtime graphic because y'all be getting me going, bro, and then we go into overtime. So appreciate y'all. We all want the same thing. I'm just a little more passionate. I'm just a little more vocal. I'm just a little more animated. I can't have y'all watching boring folks that sound like the dry eyes people, right? At the same time, we have to demand so much more. Our ticket prices are the highest in the NFL for what? Because we won 2 back-to-back NFC championships that existed 20-some years before that? That's why? There's no reason for this stuff. There's no reason for this. That's a shame. I can go to Kansas City, a dynasty, for cheaper than I can get to Ford Field. And they got a dynasty, bro. They have a dynasty. So anyway, man, listen, y'all have a great rest of the day. Bro, this soundboard is a hot mess. I will see y'all tomorrow. Appreciate. Listen, it's all love. It's all love. We all want the same thing. I want more. I want more. I'm tired of getting laughed at. I'm tired. I don't know about y'all. I can't watch anything after the Lions lose. I don't want to hear what they have to say. That's one of the reasons I'm in this space. Because if somebody gonna talk about my team, it's at least somebody who watch and know my football team. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired of the same old thing. Now, I'm not saying same old Lions. That's dead to me. I'm talking about the same old thing. We went from a joke to a Super Bowl contending team in their eyes, and to see our ex-quarterback probably on the way to win another one, it's going to be tough to see while we're trying to figure it out. We sign in practice squad defensive ends or people who have a known injury history and have nothing to show for it, and we still waiting. Anyway, I'll see y'all tomorrow. We'll be on.
And I'm pissing off the neighbors. Whether homegrown or imported, we feeling shorted, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on the feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the Motor City, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the Motor City, everything ain't pretty, but it's love though. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet.